overwhelmed, and it's like, wow. I'm coming back into the fold. I have to confess this, I started out about 30, 40, I can't even remember. And you've reminded me, with all the passion on your stories, about what it felt like to initially join a WEA women's only group, which is where I started as a student in Melton Mowbray, and suddenly as a little gang of us. And we were the most uppity, we took over the Melton Mowbray branch. I don't think the old men in the committee knew what hit them. And it was a women's health group in the daytime with a creche. And it was, and from there, well, that was it really, that my friends and my passion for how to develop and understand, you know, what you can do with your lives. There we all were, young mums, wondering how we could make a difference and change things, and the WEA was there. So we got involved with the WEA, we made it our own. And it wasn't very long before I became a tutor, because that was the next thing to do. We, amongst ourselves, the WEA encouraged, and as well as getting involved right the way through district and to national level with the Women's Education Committee. And I am passionate about women's learning and women's education. But there I was, eventually I had to get a full-time job. As it happened, or it evolved, and I went into full-time higher education teaching. And all the time I was doing that, people were kind of looking at the way in which I developed my teaching there, and I kept saying, what's the WEA teaching? I do it in the manner of the WEA. How else is there, what else is the best model for teaching? But I missed it, I absolutely missed it. And I retired, and I've spent a year, I spent a year thinking, what am I doing? And of course I know what I'm doing. I've contacted WEA, spoke to Cherry, and she said, well, you've just hit the right moment. Come on Friday, join in, this is your thing. And here I am. I think, and you said actually that I should talk about the impact and what I've learned about teaching women and being involved with the WEA as well, being a tutor and a student. I keep saying I'm a student as well. And I think for me it was the process. It started with the fact that learning is a different kind of process than just learning stuff. The stuff isn't it. I've been teaching stuff as my full-time paid employment, and I know time from. But at the same time, always aware that it changes. And I always have this government health warning, this will change your life. And of course it does, and you have to take responsibility with your students, as well as your, you know, when you're a student yourself, for the whole group. So for me, learning then became a process, and women's learning is a very particular kind of process. Because I think what it is a sociable process. And again, it's not individual learning, just so you get the certificate, get the degree. And always with the students in higher ed, and especially the young women, because I gathered them around me and say, you're young women, what were you aspiring to do? Learn socially, share. You know, you cannot just learn just to have it, but it's what is it going to do, which of course is the WEA thing again. So the main outcomes, it seems, the impact that women's education has had on women, that I've experienced, is that they do things with it. It's brilliant hearing you talk, because you're all saying, what did I do with it? That's what you do. You go out and make a difference, change things, be uppity, be as stirring as you like, get new jobs, and so on. In a way, that's my experience, and people that I know within the WEA and outside, that's what we've done. So I think that your slogan, the idea that there's creativity involved, and there's change involved. I can think what was your first one? Celebrating, always celebrating. And I think that for me was what inspired me in the WEA, that we could always celebrate, we could always have fun, and we could share experiences. So I feel overwhelmed really, because I feel that I have come back into the fold, and I can start being a student again. I've already signed up for my Tai Chi class with the WEA, so that was my other thing I did last week. And the other thing that I'm intending to do, again listening to what you've said, I'll take that photography course that I always meant to do. And I think that the creativity, and what was the other thing, and vision, shaping, actually active, being very proactive, I think is the other. it's the other vision of the WEA, and I'm so, you know, glad really I've sort of come back, and you know, it's where I belong, and I'm so pleased to hear of the good work that the East Midlands District is going to, region you're called, aren't you, are going to be doing to support women's education, so I can spend the rest of my retirement non-retiring.